Everybody, please welcome Liam McLachlan. Yes, and your talk is something that I don't know what it is. Madeinvic.ca, 100 cameras.
Right. So about, well, I don't even know, back in February, I handed out 100 disposable cameras to the general public. We dispersed them at my friend Ken Gordon's coffee shop on 4th Street. It's street level espresso. We handed out 100 cameras with the instructions, interpret and photograph what Made in Victoria means to you. And that's all of our participants had to do. When they finished the camera, they just brought it back, and that was it. The project itself was relatively easy to do. It's 27 photos, disposable camera, there's nothing, there's no timers, there's no lensing. Your focus is like 1 meter to 3 meters. I ordered the cameras from a company that does custom wedding cameras. Hence the labels. We left the labels blank on purpose. We wanted to leave as much opportunity for people to embellish and do whatever they like. The Google camera is actually one of my favorites. There were lots of other ones, notes, some more appropriate than others, some more offensive than others. And the cameras themselves were interesting to get back, but the photos were the real gem. And I've got about 25 photos, just to give you a sample. So far I've gotten about 50 cameras back out of them. Chris has one. He told me this morning that he still has it. There's a Facebook group called I Stole from a Community Art Project that will be getting more and more members. But you can see most of them are from around Victoria. They are, kind of like looking at someone else's tourist photos. There's a real voyeuristic nature to this whole project, but at the same time, each participant was totally aware of what was going on. They knew that these cameras were going to end up on a website and that everybody was going to be able to see them. So some of them are much more personal than others. And, Made in Victoria, it's not necessarily a thing, like a physical artifact. In a lot of cases, it's a state of mind or an event. There's a lot of different ways that you can look at it. It could be, the kids, it could be art, it didn't really matter. We had some people really run with the project. There was one couple in particular that went around and on Valentine's Day of all days, they decided to photograph as many murals as they could, and they got 27 photos, or 27 different murals from around the city. Most of them I knew, but there was a good handful that I'd never seen in most places in the city. It's camera number 8 if anybody wants to see it on the website. I said I had about 100, and the cameras themselves were about giving a set of restrictions on the project without stating them or having to really hold anybody accountable. So how do you get 100 people to submit 30 photos easily without having to know anything about photography, computers, the internet, nothing? They had to know nothing. That was the ideal user. And it turned out a real lo-fi, low-tech solution presented itself in the disposable camera. You can see some of the photos are quite spectacular. They've done really interesting. Some of them are really, really quite intimate, or not intimate, but personal. There aren't any intimate photos on. That's me there. I actually ended up being, I'm naked in that photo, but I ended up becoming subject matter on several of the cameras, and there's no way that I could influence what they did with them, what they did with the photos, how they produced them. One of the participants figured out how to put some lensing on her camera. I don't know how, but all of the shots have a fisheye on them, which is awesome, really quite impressive. I think the one of the squirrel is probably the craziest one because there is no timer on that camera, and that squirrel is like this far from the camera. There's lots of different images that are, just like that. It's cherry blossoms. So what's being made there? Nothing, right? These photos are much more about the qualitative state of being in Victoria. So maybe a life made in Victoria. For me, ideas aren't really answers, they're questions. How do you do this? Cameras with a solution. The camera wasn't the idea, it was how do you get a bunch of images that aren't personally biased by myself, although I can't disagree with that one. And if I'd gone around and tried to collect upwards of 3,000 images myself, they would all be from my point of view, and it would be my experience of Victoria, not Victoria's experience. There's Ken Gordon right there. That photo was taken on an iPhone, so it doesn't really count, but I really do like it. Website is Madeinvic.ca. We're going to try some more projects in the future. But for now, it's just the cameras. If you see someone with a camera, tell them they stole it and they've got to bring it back.